city is that one. There's Steve. I was told And we're on the air.
All right, so it looks like we're ready. This is the June 16th council work session. Due to the governor's stay home, stay healthy order, the city council will hold this meeting through Zoom video meetings. The public is invited to watch live on the city's YouTube channel, Comcast cable channel 30 within city limits, or by joining the Zoom webinar. Visit milwaukeeoregon.gov, city council work session 256 for details. Written comments may be submitted by email to ocr@milwaukeeoregon.gov. Council will take verbal comments. To speak during the meeting, the Zoom webinar login information and in-person pre-registration instructions are online. First up, we have the Safe Access for Everyone, SAFE, and Street Surface Maintenance Program, SSMP, annual update by our city engineer, Steve Adams. Oh, Steve, you're muted.
Sorry about that. I was unmuted, then I decided to mute myself just to make sure I was quiet during your presentation. Steve Adams, city engineer. Good evening. How's everyone doing on this fine, rainy Tuesday afternoon in June? Okay, I have not done these reports before, so this is new. So if you need to hear things that I am not telling you, please let me know. Scott gave me the ability to share my screen, so I will start off with what I hope is the SAFE staff report. And everyone can see it?
Yes, we can see your report.
Okay. A lot of this I've given to you in previous updates about what is actually having been built and done. I geared this to fiscal year 2019 with a little bit of spillover into fiscal year 2020. The report typically is given in January or February, and I didn't want to skew it to include a lot of stuff that I'll be talking about, or Jen will be talking about, in just 7 months or so. So a lot of this you are aware of. The council directed the staff $21 million in obligation bonds. We had our first SAFE projects installed. Most of that occurred right when I was starting, a little over 13 months ago. And so the Selwood Madison SAFE summary, $546,000, slightly over 2,600 feet of sidewalk, 49 ADA ramps installed, new ADA ramps. These include some that may have been replaced and other ones that were brand new. I don't have enough historical knowledge to know what percentage were replaced and what percentage were new. Ardmall SAFE, slightly under 1,600 feet of sidewalk, and this includes the previous asphalt pathway that goes from Wake Street south a couple of blocks. So I included that in with the footage, and it only included 2 ADA ramps. Kronberg Park, I have in here, as we all know, was constructed in 2020, but it started design work well before then. So just a quick summary of Kronberg. We're all familiar with it, 630 feet. Half of that was funded through a grant. South Downtown, again, this is a combination of funds, and sometimes it gets difficult piecing and pulling the funds out. But a total of 2,070 feet of sidewalk installed with it, 12 new ADA ramps. 2.3 million was split between straight sidewalk and public area improvements. I do not have the detail to know exactly how much to spend on sidewalk with that. Letting library also included the sidewalk. Most of this is the elevated boardwalk you see. We went with the boardwalk design, working with Layla to limit impact to the large tree there and not impact the roots any further than what had already been done with the library construction and the construction of the storm pond. So that was a change in the library plan. That has been completed. And private development, we had on our list do some sidewalks along 23rd and Willard. And with the high school project and with the Northwest housing projects there, a lot of the work was done by private development. And the sidewalk total's high because they've also replaced all the sidewalk wrapping around 25th to the cul-de-sac. And they added some sidewalk onto the Lake Road side, just east of 23rd. But that project installed quite a bit of sidewalk, 2,500 feet. Also 11 ADA ramps. McBride's kind of just an update. It's under construction right now. They're getting sidewalk prepped and stuff. So this will be more of a key in the next year's report. But McBride's been under design for, I think the survey was 2012. So it's been out there for quite a while. It's nice to see the work getting done. All the pipes in the ground, sidewalks will be going in soon. And that one's looking, hopefully look really good here in the near future. Everything has come in within budget so far. The Kronberg multi-use path needed a little bit of additional funding to finalize the design work, but the construction work, we have not been over budget on the construction work. Workload impact, I won't go through it. You have a copy of it there, I assume, but all the staff is busy and been assigned. This is how I kind of envision it being done through fiscal year 2023. That's the budget we just got done presenting to the budget committee, which you'll approve tonight a little bit later on. But this is how I envision the staff working on these projects over the next few years. So we do have a lot in the hopper coming, and hopefully we'll be able to keep work ramped up pretty well. Revenue summary, the SAFE program brought in, it's just fiscal year 19, so this is through June 30th, a year ago. We brought in $1.6 million, most of that in the SAFE fees, some interest earned, 232, and intergovernment franchise fees were 328. So 1.6 million total brought in. The ADA transition plan, this is something we haven't had time to really get involved and delve in deep and get it organized. As you know, we've had a bit of a turnover in the engineering technician, and Jennifer Backus usually does this, and she's been busy either training herself into new roles or training new staff. So we will give this a lot better look through going into the fiscal year, the January 21 report, fiscal year 20 report, and have a lot better information on where we're hitting and where we're missing and where we're at long term. I just don't have the data, unable to collect it at this time. I'm going to unshare this and show you the kind of the project plan map. But again, I've shown this to you in the past. And
Lisa, did you have something you wanted to ask before we?
I did want to ask.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And I'm thinking back to conversations we had with your predecessor. But when we say 72% are non-compliant, how non-compliant, I guess, is what I'd like to have a better handle on. I mean, I've heard comments that it was just, the regulations about the size of the, whatever you call that, the thing with the little bubbles on it, have changed, or the color has changed. How out of compliance are they? And is it true that it's only when we repay in those areas that we're obligated to bring them up to compliance?
I can speak from my experience at that other city I worked at, because I was also involved there, and the procedures are the same. I don't have the detailed knowledge of our ADA compliance. What they look for are the truncated domes. That's very important. Those have been part of the plan since around 2005-ish is when the truncated domes first got adopted. At the end, they were coming and going for a while because of some disagreements between the various disability groups. They're also look at the slope. The ramp has to have a maximum slope of 8.33%. If you exceed it, you are in violation. It has to have a transition from the bottom of the ramp to the street. If that exceeds 13% grade difference, then you exceed it because the wheelchairs don't go over the gutter well when it's over 13%. So that's a problem. Top of the ramp, you have to have a landing that has to be a maximum 2% cross slope in any direction whatsoever. So if you have a slope at any part of that landing on top of the ramp, that's 2.1%. They'll have you rip it out and redo it. So that's an area. The wings also have to have a certain slope. If you exceed the wing slope, they'll nail you for that. So there's various different levels that they look at. And then there's a hierarchy that they place on those. And you then build your plan based on which ones are the worst in compliance. And then you work your way up to the ones that are just slightly out of compliance. But that's the general process of handling these. And we'll have a lot more detail once I have a chance to really get into this plan more, work with Jennifer, find out how it was all done, how we did it here. I actually have more knowledge of how the plan was done in Wilsonville, so I do apologize for not being up to speed with the Milwaukee plan.
And what's our obligation to upgrade them?
You upgrade them. The government, they require a plan. They don't necessarily say you must do it within 10 years or 20 years. You must have a plan. You must do a certain percentage each year. The cities who've gotten themselves in trouble are those who either don't devote enough resources to upgrading their ramps. The groups could sue them. ODOT found themselves in that case, and that's why ODOT had to do the settlement outside Sacramento, Bend, or they're the two cities I know that have not been upgrading their ramps quickly enough. But as long as you have a plan and you're working steadily towards it, I'm not familiar with those cities getting in trouble.
Councilor Beatty and Council President Faulkner, Councilor Parks is reporting she can't hear you guys very well when you speak. So just want to relay that information.
Mark, is that the same for you and Steve? You're muted.
Lisa is particularly muffled. You're a little less so muffled.
And actually, when you got closer to the mic, Angel, that helped a lot. So if it can just be intentional, I think that it can work with the masks on.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Did I sufficiently answer your question, Councilor Beatty? Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other questions at this point? All right. I'd like to share my screen. Do you have to allow me to do that, Scott, or what? How does it work? It says...
You should be able to do that, Steve.
Oh, there you go. All right. Get the comp plan for safe up. Hold it here at SSMP. Let me try this again here. Safe. There we go. Well, now you should have the overall map for the safe system of the city. And again, very simple. The projects that are done, I have in black. Projects that are going under construction, that either are under construction now or that we plan to get under construction in the next few months are shown in green. And I've talked pretty extensively about these projects. And I included the ones that we have going out to fiscal year 2025. These are the ones that I envision having staff working on and getting designed and built in the next several years.
So can you, am I muted again? Can you clarify, I mean, we just talked about this not that long ago, but when things say 2020, I think people, or 2021, people may be assuming they're starting this summer, and not everything that says 2021 is actually starting this summer. Is that correct? Like we said, Lake Road wasn't starting until next year.
Yeah, so fiscal year 2021 means everything between July 1st, 2020 to June 30th, 2021. And so we do expect to have all these projects under construction by June 30th of 2021. Several will be complete. Go ahead.
Can you call out which ones are actually starting construction in 2020?
Okay. McBride is under construction. That will be completed in late summer. River Road, 22nd Avenue is out to bid right now. We'll get the bid in, and that will go under construction probably in August. Linwood will go under construction this fall. 42nd, 43rd, again, under construction this fall. Home, Edison, Safe Project, that'll go under construction probably spring of 21. And Lake Road will go under construction in spring of 21.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. And the upcoming SAFE projects, the dates on those, the dates that we first have funding available in the budget. So that's when they first go under design. They likely won't go under construction that year, but that's when they start the design phase, and they'll go under construction shortly after that. Design on these big projects, typically it runs 9 months to a year to design a larger project. You can get a smaller one designed in 6 months. But anything that's pretty good size will take generally 9 months to a year or so to get under design, get complete design, get ready to go to bid. If no other questions there, I'll proceed on to the SSMP report. Are there any other questions on SAFE?
Are we now designing, I mean, when we started SAFE, we were contracting out some design? Are we doing all design in-house now, or are we still contracting out some design?
It is split. Of these, 42nd, Home, Edison, and Lake are in-house design. Linwood, 43rd, and McBride, River, and 22nd were consultant. In the future, we'll probably have more in-house design than consultant design. I think we're probably going to go to over 50% being designed in-house, looking at the next several years.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions at this time? Okay, I'm going to exit out of here and go into the SSMP report. Okay. SSMP has been here for a while, 2007. And we are steadily working along with that. The major project it was labeled SSMP 2019. It actually got built in late 2019, fall of 2019, and spring. So the road project actually got built in fiscal year 2020, but it included the rebuilding of 39th Avenue and Wake near Ardenwald School. And then this spring, we came back and rebuilt Omark in the industrial area. That's off of Mailwell Drive. Again, $983,000 cost, 10,500 square yards, which is 95,000 square feet or so of pavement completely rebuilt. All three of these streets are taken down to these subgrade soil and new rock and new asphalt built above that. The current one that we're working on, again, that's going to be a total rebuild, is McBride. That construction of the street will probably occur, my feeling is either late July or August, we'll be rebuilding McBride. South Downtown was another major project, rebuilding Main Street, pieces of Washington Street, and that was all completed last summer, 2019. And then the paving grant overlay, we didn't have anything scheduled this year. And so nothing to report on that. We did do, Public Works did manage the slurry seal project. And I believe Peter has given you updates on that. But Came in pretty good price, $222,000, and under 5 square yards. Applied over 5.25 miles of streets. And here's a summary of the slurry seal streets. They were spread all over town. And slurry
Steve, I think you are flipping screens on your side, but it's not showing up on the screen for me. So if you can exit out and then reshare the screen, I think that would be helpful.
We'll try that. Sorry.
Thank you. No, it happens. Thanks.
Does everyone see the current?
Yes,
Great.
it's the list.
It's the list. Okay, so these are the streets that all were slurry sealed. These are all done. I think it started right around June of 2019 and finished in July 2019. So there's all good, just a variety of streets all over the city. And again, looking in the future, again with the new CIP project list now being bundled, it's going to be more difficult to track the separate projects, but essentially this is a repeat of what I just showed you for the SAFE projects about the staff and what they're assigned to do. But there are a lot of projects going to be under design and moving forward with that. Revenue summary for SSMP through June 30th, 2019. Took in just over $3 million, $3.1 million from a variety of fees and funds. Majority is the state gas tax, $1.6 million, but you can see there the rest of the fees that we accumulated to that $3.1 million total.
So since this was 2018-19, it doesn't include the vehicle registration fee, but that money's now coming in, correct?
That money is coming in. I have not talked to finance recently, but the money should have been, they started collecting money in December or so, December, January. So it's been being collected for at least 6 months now, but that'll show up on our next report. Yeah, we anticipated, I think Clackamas County anticipated our share to be around $400,000.
Mm-hmm. That's my recollection too. Yeah.
They, I believe, are having some reduction in revenue just because of COVID. They aren't seeing as many vehicle registrations as anticipated, so it'll probably be less.
Yeah, these numbers will change a lot because state gas tax is down, local gas tax is down. So there's going to be a lot of different numbers next year. I don't know quite yet how it's going to be impacted. I hear some feedback from Bonnie, but I don't think we have actual numbers. And a lot of it depends on how long it goes on for. If this continues on for a while with reduced driving, it will definitely affect it. And we've been in touch with Peter. We talk about it between Ann and Kelly, Bonnie and us, and we're watching where revenues are declining and how best to handle that. And I do not have an update on anything on that.
Steve, do you have a sense of, I don't know if you've had enough bids go out and come back yet, but have you seen any change in what you expected things to cost and how much they're actually coming in at?
The bids we have come in very, very good. So McBride was one of the more recent ones in the springtime. We thought that was going to come in about $300,000 higher than it did. So that was a good savings.
Nice.
Then on the other one doesn't deal with SAFE or SSMP. It's the Meek Street Storm. That one, again, we thought was going to come in about $1.7 million, and we got it at $1.4 million. It's about $300,000 less. So both of those came in a total of $600,000 below what the insurance estimate was. I'm eagerly looking forward to the 22nd and River projects to see where that comes in. That bid opening is, I think, within 10 days. I think it's the 25th, if I recall. But that'll be very interesting to see where that project comes in. That'll give us a good indication of how hungry the contractors are. The one other thing we did in 2019, we did revise our pavement condition index, the PCI. We hired a company to evaluate the streets and update our Street Saver program. The decision matrix here, I'm sure you've seen before from previous reports. This is something we just generally follow for the condition of the streets, and it tells us when maintenance is due. And when it falls below a certain level, you have to do a little more intense. So now rehabilitate is a grind and overlay. Now reconstruct is rebuilding it as we did with Omark, 39th and Wake. But the one thing with this that was very interesting is that the PCI goals actually went up significantly last year. I don't have an exact reason why that is, but they all... Overall, the PCI for all the streets in the city hit a 59 last year. Previous year was 52. The year before that was a 51. So there has been some work being done to the streets. And it's reflecting in this. I was surprised by how much it had changed. I don't have an exact reason why. The reports that they give you when we hire a company to do PCI, all the streets are done in segments. So even though we might have, so I'll throw a number out there. When I have 100 streets in the city, when you get all the segments in there, the report actually has like 500 lines of spreadsheet, and it takes time to go through it all, and I haven't had time to digest exactly why the PCI went up that much and whether it will stay that high looking forward. One thing in PCI that I'd like to do going forward in the future is bring this in-house. It's not that difficult to train a technician and an engineer to go out and evaluate the PCIs, and it actually gives staff something to do in the slower winter months. So all three of my technicians, I would assume they would have time from their inspection duties in January, February, and typically I've been assigned to go out and look at the streets and reevaluate the streets, and not hire a company out as often. But the PCI, I like to track it in-house as much as I can. So that's one of my goals to work on in the next year or two, is to bring this in-house. On the specific on PCIs for 2019, arterial streets did drop. It was previously 67, it went down to 63. Now, that would have looked a lot better if we could have done some of the major arterial streets, but this I anticipate will climb quite a bit in the future, because Lake Road is a huge amount of street, 3,500 foot of Lake Road will be rebuilt, and River Road and 22nd will both be resurfaced. There's 2,500 feet of both of those streets that will be resurfaced with the project. And Linwood will receive a slurry seal, so that will increase the PCI value slightly on Linwood. Collector streets dropped just a little bit. It was 64, it went down to 62. Minor collectors went up. Neighborhood streets went up, and this could be from the slurry seal that we did. Again, I haven't had time to look at it really close. It previously was a 46. It did go up to 55. We still have about 2.2 million, 2.3 million square feet of local streets that are in the rebuild program. They're the reconstruct stage of being in bad condition, and I don't have an exact plan for that. I do plan to come back to council and talk more about how we wish to address the streets that are in very poor condition, what our options are. I know I've been in touch with Gresham. Gresham has a pretty aggressive program right now. We're rebuilding failed streets. I've been in touch with the engineer out there and how that's going and the cost of it. So I do have some decent numbers to bring back to council, and we'll be talking about maintenance on our local streets more in the next 6 months.
Steve, I'm wondering if one of the options is, revisiting whether or not pavement is appropriate for every single street in the city. If there are ones that are really low traffic and maybe converting over to gravel would be appropriate, or I'm just curious.
That is an option. That's something we'll have to discuss more. To get more of a matrix and try to get better traffic counts on these streets. And part of it will be, you know, if you have a cul-de-sac with only a handful of homes on that, is it worth the $500,000 repaving that street, or do we go with something simpler and just do maintenance? It also involves Peter and his staff. Gravel streets do get potholes, take a little more maintenance with them. I've also discussed a street where maybe right now it's maybe 28 feet wide of pavement. I've talked with Jen Garbely. Well, what if we just do, say, 18 feet, the travel lanes? What if we just repave that 18 feet, leave the parking spaces the old pavement? It doesn't get a lot of impact over there. That it'll be a different color difference. You'll have the light gray and dark black surface difference. But is there a need to rebuild parking areas on these streets? And it's a conversation to have more. And if the city overall feels that it's better to have a good 18 feet of driving surface in the middle of the street, that's one way we can save money too going into the future.
Yeah, I'd like to have a conversation about implementing a program similar to what Portland does. They have the options for neighbors to get together and build play streets. So converting a lot of those very low volume streets that tend not to get much improvement and deteriorate into almost gravel roads, actually intentionally creating spaces that are dominated by people and not cars.
Okay. I will look into that more too then. Thank you. And I'm going to switch out of this, go back to our upcoming project sheet. It's slightly different from what I provided in the other one. Hold on a sec. Man. All right, out of there. I don't see it now. Hold it. Oh, I had it up. It's there. Where is it here? There it is. Okay. So now we should be on the Safe SSMP page. SSMP, sorry, not Safe, just SSMP page. And again, a lot of the similar projects we had before that were done. Why aren't you moving for me? Okay. Can't find that happy medium of the page. The page. Oh, okay. So again, 39th Wake was done, South Downtown, private development, the high school, and NHA did the area on Willard and 23rd. Projects going forward right now are certainly the same ones we had before. So McBride, 43rd, 42nd is not as SSMP. 43rd is Linwood's been dropped, but Wood Avenue's been added along with Home Edison. So pretty much the same combination of projects, and then similar projects going forward in the future. What we're looking at and what year they will occur. Let's see if I get that happy medium. There it is. Any questions I can respond to on the SSMP program, or?
Do I understand there's no proposal for more storage units?
Councilor Beatty, I'm not hearing you. I'm sorry.
I don't know what to do. Do I understand correctly that there's no proposal for more storage ceilings in the area?
I still can't hear Lisa. I'm sorry.
I think that the point was whether or not we had plans to do slurry seal. in this plan. And so that would normally be a Peter question, but Steve, do you know?
We don't have anything planned for this summer, but we'll talk to Peter about fiscal year 22. We should have some money to do some story ceiling, so I'll work with Peter on identifying which streets that will occur to. But I do anticipate having a story seal project in next summer.
Perfect. Thanks, Steve.
No.
Are there any other questions I could ask from?
I did have one other one which goes back to sidewalks, more than SSMP, but does the 43rd, 42nd house, does that also connect up the sidewalk on Lotus Road, or is that a future project to connect from 43rd to the existing sidewalk on Lotus Road?
43rd will build sidewalks between Howe and King Road. To build a sidewalk on the east side and a multi-use path on the west side. The Lotus Road work will go under design around 2023. So that's a couple years away, actually redoing the sidewalks on Lotus Road. And that goes from 43rd over to 49th. Otherwise, I don't have anything else to present unless I have a question I could address, but I didn't have anything else for this evening.
Anybody have anything else? Okay. Well, I think that concludes our work session. After the work session, council will meet in executive session pursuant to Oregon Revised Statute 192.6602E to deliberate with persons designated by the governing body to negotiate real property transactions.
And a reminder to council that will be held in Microsoft Teams.
Thank you. Scott, do we log out of this one?
Yeah, you can log out of this and there'll be a different Zoom meeting for the regular session. So we are adjourned.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.